For every live-action cartoon remake that makes you say, they actually got it, there's 10 that makes you wonder if the writers ever watched the original. Starting with Disney's 2022 Pinocchio, a movie that proved you can take a dark, timeless fairy tale and turn it into a forgettable streaming placeholder. The original Pinocchio isn't a safe bedtime story. It's a morality tale where kids literally turn into donkeys and get sold into slavery. Geppetto gets swallowed by a whale. Pinocchio hangs from a tree. The darkness isn't a bug, it's the entire point. The 2022 remake looked at all of this and said, let's make it safer. They softened Pleasure Island. They changed the ending. They turned a photorealistic CGI puppet loose that looked less like a charming wooden boy and more like something from your nightmares. But here's the real problem. They explained everything. The original Pinocchio let you experience the magic and terror. You didn't need to understand how the blue fairy worked, you just accepted it. The remake couldn't help itself. Why does the puppet come to life? How does the fairy's magic work? What are the rules of becoming a real boy? Questions nobody asked, answers nobody wanted, magic sucked dry. This is the first mistake of bad remakes, being afraid of your source material. If you think the original is too dark, too weird, or too intense, then don't adapt it. Softening something doesn't make it better, it makes it forgettable. Pinocchio also made a critical visual error. The original worked because the animated puppets can express pure joy, pure fear, pure wonder. When you make that puppet photorealistic, those expressions become uncanny. Your visual style started fighting your story. When your medium limits emotional storytelling instead of enhancing it, you've already lost. But Pinocchio's fear of darkness is nothing compared to Peter Pan and Wendy's fear of being fun. Peter Pan is about one thing, refusing to grow up. It's about adventure, imagination, and the joy of childhood. It's escapism in its purest form. The 2023 remake decided this story about childlike wonder needed trauma and moral complexity. Peter isn't fun anymore. He's dealing with abandonment issues. Hook isn't a theatrical villain. He needs to be morally gray. The Lost Boys aren't having adventures. They're processing their feelings about being orphans. Let me be clear, there's nothing wrong with psychological depth, but when you add it to a story that's specifically about the joy of not being complex, you're writing a different story. This is adaptation mistake number 2, confusing mature with better. Peter Pan worked because it was simple and joyful. Not everything needs to be The Last of Us. Sometimes a story about flying children fighting pirates is enough. You don't need to fix what isn't broken. And this reveals something crucial about bad remakes. They're embarrassed by their source material. They look at cartoons and see something that needs elevating, maturing, fixing. They're wrong. While Peter Pan added complexity nobody asked for, The Little Mermaid 2023 made a different mistake. It tried to modernize the story while keeping the exact same plot, creating something that contradicted itself. The original Little Mermaid is about sacrifice. Ariel gives up her voice, her home, her family for a chance at something different. She falls in love with Eric's world before she falls for Eric himself. That's the point. The remake added scenes where Ariel and Eric have conversations and bond before she loses her voice. You know, to make their connection more earned for modern audiences who apparently can't handle love at first sight. But this undermines everything. Ariel's transformation wasn't about Eric being worth it. It was about wanting to be part of a different world. Their relationship, built on a foundation of silence and physical attraction, was the point. They also added scuttle rapping to explain Ariel's feelings since she can't speak.
From the women who wash all the clothes, to the hunter who arrows the bows, the chatter all over the palace is that your Prince Eric is gonna propose.
But the original's power came from her expressing herself without words. The silenced forced her to communicate differently. That was beautiful. This is mistake number 3. If you think the original's premise is problematic, don't adapt it. Don't try to have it both ways, keeping the nostalgic plot while making it palatable for Twitter. Either commit to the story or tell a different one. This middle ground satisfies nobody. But sometimes the problem isn't contradicting your story, it's burying it. Enter Tim Burton's Dumbo, a movie that took 64 minutes of pure emotion and smothered it under 2 hours of humans nobody cared about. The original Dumbo is devastatingly simple. Baby elephant has big ears, gets mocked, gets separated from his mother, learns to fly. That's it. That's the story. And it works because that emotional core is crystal clear.
Is it possible?
The remake added a human family with their own arc, an evil businessman villain played by Michael Keaton, a romance subplot, social commentary about circus and animal cruelty, CGI spectacle. All of this buried the one thing that mattered, a child missing his mother. By the time Dumbo reunites with his mom, we've sat through so many human subplots that we've forgotten why we're supposed to care. The emotional payoff lands with a thud because you spent 2 hours not building to it. This is mistake number 4. Adding complexity doesn't automatically create depth. Sometimes the simplest stories hit the hardest. Dumbo didn't need humans. It needed us to care about an elephant. And this reveals the fundamental question every remake should answer. Why does the story need to be live action? If your answer is, because the IP is valuable, you've already failed. But not all Disney remakes fail. Cinderella understood something the others didn't. The animated Cinderella is 47 minutes long. You can't just recreate it shot for shot in live action. It would feel rushed. So Kenneth Branagh's 2015 version did something smart. It expanded. We see more of Ella's relationship with her father before he dies. We understand why her stepmother is bitter instead of just evil. The prince gets an actual personality and agency. These additions don't contradict the original. They enhance it. The core story is the same. Girl escapes abuse through magic and finds love. But the writing makes us care about these people as humans instead of archetypes. Here's what Cinderella did right. It used live action strengths. Animation can show impossible magic and exaggerated expressions. Live action can show subtle emotions through actors' faces. Cate Blanchett brings complexity to Lady Tremaine through tiny expressions. You can see the jealousy eating at her. That's what live action can do that animation can't. Cinderella also wasn't trying to fix the original. It honored it while giving audiences a reason to watch this version instead of the animated classic. But Disney isn't the only studio that struggles with this. Let's talk about The Last Airbender. The movie's so bad, it became a meme for terrible adaptations. Avatar: The Last Airbender spent 3 seasons building character development, exploring themes of responsibility and redemption, and creating one of the most beloved animated series of all time. M. Night Shyamalan compressed an entire season into 103 minutes, changed the pronunciation of every character's name for no reason, and delivered wooden dialogue, terrible pacing, and bending that looked like aggressive yoga. The movie treated Avatar like a checklist. Aang gets frozen, check. Meets Katara, check. Goes to the Northern Water Tribe, check.
Barely. I'm trying to get better, but I'm the only waterbender left in the Southern.
They hit every plot point and missed everything that mattered. Because Avatar wasn't about the plot, it was about Aang learning to accept responsibility he didn't ask for, Katara working through the trauma of losing her mother, Sokka overcoming his insecurity to become a leader. The Last Airbender skipped all of this and wondered why nothing landed emotionally. This is mistake number 5. Understanding what your audience actually loves. It's rarely the plot beats. Avatar's power was in watching characters grow over 61 episodes. You cannot compress character-driven stories by just hitting plot points. The journey is the story, not the destination. The bending was also terrible. What was fluid and dynamic in animation became 6 earthbenders doing synchronized Tai Chi for a full minute to lift one rock. The magic was gone. But while The Last Airbender failed through disrespect, Netflix's One Piece succeeded through careful reverence. When Netflix announced One Piece, fans expected disaster. Netflix had already butchered Death Note and Cowboy Bebop. Anime adaptations seemed cursed, but One Piece did something different. First, creator involvement. Ichiro Oda was heavily involved in production. He had veto power. The series respects the source material because the creator made sure it would. Second, they cast for character, not star power. Inaki Gadoi wasn't a famous name, but he captured Luffy's optimism perfectly. Each cast member embodied their character's essence, instead of just looking vaguely familiar. But most importantly, One Piece understood what to change. They didn't do shot-for-shot recreation. They adapted the emotional core while adjusting pacing for live action. The anime can spend 3 episodes on a single fight because animation has different pacing expectations. Live action needs tighter storytelling. One Piece condensed fights while keeping the emotional stakes that made them matter. Nami's backstory with Arlong destroyed people in the live action, just like it did in the anime. Not because they recreated every scene, but because they understood which emotional beats mattered.
Mom, why didn't you just lie? You didn't have to tell him about it.
Because you are my daughters.
And I would never deny that.
This is the key. Adaptation is translation, not transcription. You're moving a story from one language to another. Some things must be changed for the spirit to survive, and sometimes embracing the absurdity is exactly what makes it work. Scooby-Doo 2002 could have tried to make itself realistic, grounded, serious. Instead, it leaned into cartoon logic, terrible puns, and characters saying zoinks unironically. Matthew Lillard didn't play a realistic version of Shaggy. He played Shaggy. Cowardly, food-obsessed, loyal to a talking dog. It worked because he understood the character and committed fully.
The only thing I like better than an eggplant burger is a chocolate-covered eggplant burger.
The movie asked the right questions. How do we bring these characters to life? Not how do we make them believable? This is crucial. Don't be embarrassed by your source material. If it's fantastical and absurd, embrace it. Trying to make it realistic usually just makes it generic. Scooby-Doo succeeded not despite being silly, but because it was confidently silly. And when studios actually listen to fans, miracles can happen. Remember Sonic's original design? When that first trailer dropped in 2019, the internet collectively screamed. Sonic looked like a police sketch of something found at a crime scene, weirdly realistic with human teeth and wrong proportions. The studio could have ignored this, could have pushed forward saying trust the vision. Instead, they did something revolutionary. They admitted they were wrong. They delayed the movie, completely redesigned Sonic to look like the games, and the movie became a massive success. Not because the script was brilliant, but because they respected the character. The lesson, when fan feedback is unanimous, listen. The Sonic team showed humility and it paid off. So what did we learn? 1. Don't be afraid of your source material. Pinocchio softened everything and became forgettable. 2. Not everything needs psychological depth. Peter Pan added trauma to a story about joy and missed the point. 3. If the premise seems problematic, don't adapt it. Little Mermaid tried to fix what wasn't broken and contradicted itself. 4. Complexity isn't depth. Dumbo buried emotion under human subplots. 5. Understand what fans actually love. The Last Airbender hit plot points but missed character growth. 6. Translation, not transcription. One Piece changed structure while keeping emotional truth. 7. Embrace the absurdity. Scooby-Doo succeeded by being confidently silly. 8. Listen to unanimous feedback. Sonic redesigned and won. But all of these rules point to one fundamental truth. Bad remakes are made because IP is valuable. Good remakes are made because someone has something to say. The difference between Pinocchio and Cinderella isn't budget, it's intent. Cinderella was made by people who loved the original. Pinocchio feels like content created to fill Disney Plus quotas. The difference between The Last Airbender and One Piece isn't just execution, it's respect. One Piece was made by people who understood the source. The Last Airbender was made by a director who thought he could improve it. When the next live-action remake is announced, ask yourself, are they making this because they have a story to tell, or because nostalgia sells? Because here's the thing, adaptation isn't about making things realistic or mature or for modern audiences. It's about understanding the heart of the original and finding new ways to make that heart beat. Great writing transcends medium. Avatar works because it's about accepting responsibility. One Piece works because it's about found family. These themes don't need live action to be valid. They need good writing. Bad remakes think changing the medium means changing the story. It doesn't. It means finding new ways to tell the same story with the same soul. So the next time you see a remake announcement, don't ask, will this look good? Ask, do the people making this understand why we loved the original? Because that's the difference between honoring a classic and mining nostalgia for profit. Which live-action remake makes you want to break your TV? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe, because apparently Hollywood still hasn't figured out how to do this right.